Well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah. Say, I got a woman way over town, good to me. Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Hannah. The song you just heard is I Got a Woman from Ray Charles. It's a classic early soul music masterpiece. In the following presentation, I will introduce you to this particular type of music and show you the charm of the soul music. This is the outline of my presentation. First of all, I will give you a brief introduction about what is soul music. Secondly, the origins and development of soul music. And then the characteristics of soul music will further introduced. There are three main soul music record companies: the Motown, the Stax Sound, and the Atlantic Soul. And at the end of my presentation, I will introduce one famous soul music performance, Aretha Franklin. She is the soul queen. And I hope you can enjoy my presentation. Soul music is a popular music genre that originated in the United States in the 1950s and early 1960s. It is made by Black Americans and elevates feeling above all else. The sound remains in church. More often than not, soul is in ballad form and employs certain gospel and blues techniques, call and response patterns, hip argot, and inflection melismatic delivery. It is a completely vocal art. Soul assumes a shared experience, a relationship with the listener, as in blues, where the singer confirms and works out the feeling of the audience.
Oh, yeah.
What is soul music? Here are some acknowledgments about soul music from some famous soul performers. Redding said, "I am not a blues singer, not an R&B singer, but a soul singer. We sing without any preparation while we walk into the studio. This is what we call soul. You sing how you feel." American popular music history explained, soul music is what you really want something to say, something you think in your heart, you see and you feel. The American popular music history also summarized, more conscious, that soul music is the rhythm and blues with the religious flavor of gospel songs. Franklin said, "This is an obvious fact, soul from gospel songs and blues. As for me, soul is a feeling, a deep feeling from my heart. I show it. It is this kind of feeling through which affect other people." Jackson said, "Soul is a form of theater that you cannot learn from books or study. My situation is, I believe, hear and feel things in the gospel music, which influence my music career the most. From which we can see, soul music stresses the free expression of inner feelings, and which is related to the Black religious. Therefore, in summarized, if we combine the characteristics of rhythm and blues and gospel songs, allows the musician to full and free use of these ingredients, the performance and his or her heart feelings. Obviously, we can close to understand the term of soul. Soul music developed out of the black music that became popular in the 1950s. That is, American gospel and R&B, performed primarily by black musicians almost exclusively to a black audience. Some of the most successful R&B artists of the 50s were the ones who made it into the pop charts in the 1960s with soul numbers. One such person was Ray Charles, who was a major force in the early development of soul music with his unique style, which was a rich blend of gospel, rhythm and blues and jazz, and we have already heard about the song from Ray Charles at the beginning of my presentation. And eventually, soul music became materialized in the early 1960s. Throughout the late 1960s, soul decadent, like the Box Talks, Mitch Ryder, Tony Joe White, and Royal Headband, by a series of heavy losses. In the 1970s, soul music continued to develop, such as Hall & Oates, Robert Palmer, Average White Band, and the playing style of soul music became more modernized.
You don't ever have to walk alone. You see, oh, come on, take my hand.
Here comes the characteristics of soul music. Soul music, especially that from the 1960s, was simply pop-orientated R&B. Therefore, soul and R&B performance share common instrumentation, with the performing ensemble divided into a rhythm section and a horn section. Typically, the rhythm section consists of a drum kit, bass, piano, and guitar, while the horn section features saxophones, trumpets, and occasionally trombones. The emphasis on the horn section in most styles of soul and R&B has been one of the ways in which the music has historically been differentiated from the white rock music, which has tended to be guitar-dominated. Other common musical elements of soul and R&B music includes the use of the 12-bar form, using a free-line lyric, originating in early style of blues. Call and response, whereby a singer or instrumentalist will sing or play a phrase and another vocalist or instrumentalist will answer with another phrase. Incessant repetition of musical notes, rhythms, phrases, or verses. The use of blue notes and a tightly integrated and complex blending of instruments, in which it is often difficult to differentiate the separate sounds or instruments being played at a given moment. The Motown record label was founded by Barry Gordon in 1959. It was a black-owned organization which aimed to use only black musicians, although in reality, many of the section players were white. At a time when the struggle for racial equality was paramount in America, soul music such as that recorded by the Motown label played a major role in promoting black pride. The sound was joyous, uplifting, and confident, and accompanied by the civil rights movement with songs like Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. And you can listening the music right now. And Motown's continued stream of hits was largely down to a factory-like recording and producing process, which has brought about some criticism over the years. Barry Gordon would often auditions about 12 different mixes on transistor radio in the quality control room. This production line approach went on to influence the hit factory of the 1980s. Motown acts like the Supremes, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, and the Four Tops were rarely out of the charts and are amongst some of the soul music's most famous artists. The Motown label exercised a lot of control over their artists, but in the 70s, artists like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder were allowed a more artistic freedom. The Stax sound dominated the 60s alongside the Motown sound and continued to thrive well into the 70s. Stax Records was important in Black American music in the mid-60s with its production of Southern American soul music. Also, it had a mix of both black and white musicians and production staff. The style brought to national attention in the United States music performed by some of the first racially integrated popular music groups, including the Marquis and Booker T and the MGs. Very different from Motown, Stax has had an earthly, boozy feel, often powered by the classic Booker T and the MG's rhythm section. The music had a pulsating, gritty soul music style, propelled by a powerful horn section and driving rhythm section. Compared to Motown, the ensembles were often smaller, and the arrangements were less dense. The vocals on Stax records are often very expressive, influenced heavily by gospel. Stax Revival label was founded as a jazz label in 1947, turned to rhythm and blues in the 1950s, became celebrity as the home of many soul stars in the 1960s, and then harvested some of the best of the 1960s and 70s rock and roll acts, from Buffalo Springfield to Led Zeppelin. In the 60s, Atlantic became the central of soul music. The label entered into a partnership with Memphis, Tennessee-based Stax Records, and used Stax house band Booker T and the MGs behind such artists as Otis Redding and Sam and Dave. The label also signed an artist who had been mismanaged by Columbia Records, a gospel-trained belter named Ethan Franklin. For these reasons, Stax and Atlantic Records are often grouped together in discussions about soul music.
The moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. And while I'm combing my hair now,
Aretha Franklin is an American musician, singer, and songwriter. Franklin is known as one of the most important popularizers of the soul music genre and is referred to as the Queen of Soul, a title she was given early in her career. Franklin began her singing career singing in her father's church at the age of 10 and started recording 4 years later. After several years in the gospel circuit and with her father's blessing, she performed a secular pop music career in the age of 18, singing with Columbia Records. And then, in the late 1966, Franklin switched over to Atlantic Records, where she began recording a string of popular hits including I Never Loved a Man, A Nature Woman, Think, Chain of Fools, and what later became her signature song, Respect. Here comes the end of the presentation, and this is the bibliography. Hope you can enjoy the soul music as well, and thank you for your watching.